We are going to go in order. Each country will have 2 minutes to start with an opening statement, and we'll be starting with the United States.
And please identify yourself when you speak. Speak slowly, loudly, and clearly so everyone can hear what you say.
Shall we begin?
Yeah.
All right, I'm Secretary of State Harshdeep Singh Mann. So as a background, the U.S. is worried about Iran, a country that has very low credibility and will do whatever it takes to avoid a nuclear-armed Iran. The U.S. will immediately reimpose the snapback sanctions under the JCPOA and may take limited military actions if needed. So this is our stance. The U.S. would prefer a diplomatic approach to this issue, willing to give Iran a second chance to make amends for this mistake. They have two options. The first option is to either prove that our intelligence claims are incorrect with extensive credible evidence, and this would obviously close the case. The second option is to agree to shut down any enrichment facilities that break the terms of the JCPOA under strict monitoring. If the facilities are proven to break the terms of the JCPOA, the U.S. would set a specific time period, let's say 6 months, for example, for the Iranians to destroy the facilities. This time period would be split up into three inspections. For this example, it would be every 2 months. If no progress is made, the U.S. would perform limited military action. If not, then everything would be fine. Consequences for not complying. If Iran is not able to disprove our intelligence claims for breaking the terms of the JCPOA agreement and does not agree to remove these facilities, the U.S. will reimpose snapback sanctions. The U.S. will also deploy B-2 bombers in Qatar and Kuwait as a threat to take military action if Iran still fails to comply. And if Iran still does not comply, the U.S. will take military action. The U.S. will also impose sanctions on any other nation in this agreement who supports Iran, where support is defined as either directly supporting or failing to take actions, also imposing sanctions against Iran if Iran is not compliant. The ideal outcome would be that the Iranians shut down the enrichment facility or validly disprove the U.S. intelligence claims with proper evidence.
All right, just quick point of order. I'm going to give a symbol of 3 when you have 30 seconds left. So to keep us on schedule, Russia.
Who are you? Who are you?
I'm the EU High Representative.
I'm Emily Frame. I'm the Russian Foreign Minister. Colleagues and comrades, I would like to begin by expressing Russia's full support of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action with the nation of Iran. We are proud of this agreement. It is a positive example of diplomacy and truly a collective effort on the part of the international community. The JCPOA has resolved one of the toughest international issues that could have easily escalated into an armed confrontation. Russia expects all signatories to continue implementing their commitments under the JCPOA, responsibly and faithfully. Proper implementation of the plan is crucial to continue strengthening international and regional security. That being said, Russia condemns any violation against the plan, whether it be a violation by Iran or fellow signatories. U.S. intelligence indicating the presence of an underground enrichment facility in Iran is what has brought us in this room today. If verified, this would be a clear violation of the JCPOA. The severity of these accusations makes additional intelligence essential. This will ensure that an unnecessary, potentially radical response is avoided in the event that these findings are false. We intend to carry out our own investigation based on the information provided by the United States and hopefully with the full cooperation of Iran. We believe that the best response is not to go forth with any action until our intelligence confirms these claims to be true. We expect to continue operating under the terms of the JCPOA. Action taken without further investigation would be the start of a chain of events that would lead to the dissolution of the agreement. We are confident that we can form a bilateral agreement with Iran that would accomplish what the JCPOA does today regarding Iranian nuclear weapons development. In the event that our findings support U.S. intelligence, we will be open to meeting again to determine appropriate action. Any action should be considered carefully and must sustain the strength of the JCPOA. Additionally, we will not support any sanction that threatens the economic and military cooperation between Russia and Iran, nor will we support military encroachment into Iran. We look forward to further discussion with the other signatories and hope for an agreement which is in the best interest of each and every nation.
China.
Hi, I'm Jun Shi, and I'm the Foreign Minister of China. So we have 5 key points to make. The first one is calling for negotiations between Iran, the P5+1, and the European Union. The major focus is the limitation on Iran new owner from the uranium enrichment facility, which is in clear violation of the JCPOA. We requested the U.S. to provide more detailed information about this facility, and we are also willing to send our nuclear experts to Iran to inspect and verify the credibility of the U.S. intelligence stock if necessary. The second point is that China strongly opposed to any military strike to Iran. Any military actions in Middle East will not solve the problem, but only escalate tension between Iran and the Western countries. It is significantly important to have a stable and peaceful Middle East. The third point is that China considers the Iranian nuclear dispute as a political and security problem. I would urge the countries to operate within the JCPOA guidance 75 to 78, which states the procedure if such thing happens. The ideal circumstance is continuing to operate under the JCPOA, and Iran does not go nuclear proliferation. The fourth point is compromise. Tough decisions have to be made if the talks are to progress and if the shared goals of the parties is to reach agreement. In order to safeguard the international nuclear non-proliferation, China will actively take part in negotiation and advocate for reaching a comprehensive agreement sooner than later. The last point is that China will consider economic sanctions against Iran in support of non-proliferation only if Iran refuses to negotiate or collaborate. The sanctions are a means to urge Iran to return to the negotiating table rather than the pure punishment.
France?
My name is Kelsey Green, and I'm the French Foreign Minister. I would first like to reiterate France's resolve to uphold the JCPOA and to continue the path for a nuclear weapons-free Iran. It is France's position that a nuclear Iran would result in similar proliferation attempts by other countries in the region as they seek to counterbalance regional power imbalance. Hence, we must work together now to develop a comprehensive plan in light of the new proliferation undertakings. Iran has developed an atmosphere of mistrust, and it is now time for all states involved to step up and to stop this pattern of suspicion and doubt. It's time to reestablish faith and confidence between all states. France vows to be an ally to the other member states while also standing up for French economic interests and the safety of the French people. We firstly call upon Iran to halt their enrichment activities immediately and to commence diplomatic talks. France will have no sympathy if Iran chooses a path of noncompliance. France calls for the gradual imposition of economic sanctions against Iran as agreed upon with other member states to act as an inducement to diplomatic talks. Let it be known that the sanctions will become harsher if diplomacy is not utilized by Iran. We do not want to have to take military action, but nothing is off the table until the compliance of Iran is certified. Given the failure of the previous deal to ensure a long-term compliance and cooperation, we call for an amendment that will include increased oversight and safeguards to reassert the trust between us and Iran. I again reiterate France's continued commitment to the JCPOA and to all member states in the agreement. We greatly appreciate the support of the other countries and look forward to our shared work in the pursuit of peace and well-being for all.
UK?
My name is Kyle LeBlanc, and I'm the UK Foreign Minister. The UK condemns Iran's clear violation of the JCPOA restrictions on uranium enrichment to their operations of a secret underground enrichment facility. The nature in which they operated this facility leads to the dangerous conclusion that Iran is seeking to develop a nuclear explosive device. To resolve this issue, we ask Iran to re-enter compliance with the JCPOA. This will require immediate decommissioning of the illegal facility and removal of all highly enriched nuclear materials. We'd like to remind Iran of the provision in Section 7A of the JCPOA, which allows them to purchase medium-enriched uranium at a fair market price for use in their Tehran research reactor. We sincerely hope this was the destination of the materials being enriched illegally.
Germany?
My name is Alison Gordon, and I'm representing the Federal Republic of Germany. So the Federal Republic of Germany strongly condemns the actions taken by the Islamic Republic of Iran that violate the JCPOA. From our own history, we know the dangers that emerge when the international community allows threats to peace to go unchecked. We also know the dangers of enacting extreme repercussions to a country, so needless to say, we will not repeat either mistake. Therefore, we will call for the Islamic Republic of Iran to immediately provide indisputable proof that the US's information is false. If they cannot do this, we support swift diplomatic negotiations among the member states present. Our aim is to immediately shut down all facilities that violate the JCPOA and preserve the JCPOA. If the only way to do so is with an added amendment, then we will be open to such talks. Germany has many strong economic ties with Iran, and if economic sanctions are required to bring Iran to the table, we are willing to go there, though we do not wish to return to the levels that existed before the deal. The Federal Republic of Germany further will not support unilateral action against the Islamic Republic of Iran, such as military action by the United States, because we have seen how that has gone poorly in the past, and all military action should be done according to international law. However, Germany also strongly discourages any military action, as the Middle East has already borne too many unsustainable and incontrovertible humanitarian and refugees crises recently, which affects all of the world, including Europe and Germany. We look forward to resolving this issue and returning to the stipulations of the JCPOA as quickly as possible.
And then for the European Union, I'm Eric Matthews, High Representative for Common Foreign and Security Policy. The European Union strongly condemns the subversive actions of Iran and their resumed enrichment program. The members of the European Union condemn these actions as undermining global security and confidence of the member states in Iran. The European Union suggests a series of swiftly but gradually enacted economic and diplomatic sanctions. The emphasis on the recommendation that these sanctions be applied gradually is meant to be sensitive to the reality that several EU member states have significant economic relationships with Iran. Thus, out of preservation, the EU member states seek to apply no more sanctions that are necessary to reach a resolution. Nevertheless, the EU member states also recognize the serious security threats posed by the possibility of a nuclear-capable Iran. Therefore, the series of sanctions should be applied swiftly. At each stage in the series, the effectiveness of the sanctions should be assessed judiciously and in a timely fashion. If the stage is not proven effective in compelling Iran to cease its illegal activity, the next stage of sanctions should be enacted. As of 2016, EU member states are responsible for importing $5.5 billion worth of goods euros worth of goods from Iran. It would be pragmatic to reduce imports to create a financial burden on Iran that would curb the desire for Iran to continue their enrichment program. Members of the European Union want to avoid militarized confrontation. A military engagement would almost certainly be protracted and would have high economic and human costs for all the states involved. Military action that has been discussed includes a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, a no-fly zone, and strategic missile strikes. The EU member states are committed to maintaining security, and EU member states are prepared to respond to mutual defense clauses. Moreover, EU member states that are also NATO states are prepared to respond to self-defense calls should Iran take aggressive action against a NATO member state. So now we're going to take a 5-minute break for each delegation to go back and talk with each other. Iran in particular, you'll start when we return from the break with your response to what you've heard. Yeah, we're going to return at 6:54. And we'll hear Iran's response. You have 5 minutes.
Al Kinani, Foreign Minister.
I need to speak up, please.
Al Kinani, Foreign Minister of Iran. Members of delegations. The EU High Representative and the Foreign Minister of the Islamic Republic of Iran, together with the Foreign Ministers of the E3+3, China, France, Germany, the Russian Federation, the United Kingdom, and the United States, met from 26th of March to the 2nd of April 2015 in Switzerland, and have agreed in July 2015 on a comprehensive resolution that will assure the exclusively peaceful nature of the Iranian nuclear program and the comprehensive lifting of all sanctions that was enforced on Iran. In the joint statements by EU High Representative Federica Mogherini and Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif in Switzerland on February 4, 2015, stated, as Iran pursues a peaceful nuclear program, Iran's enrichment capacity, enrichment level, and stockpile will be limited for specific durations, and there will be no other enrichment facility than Natanz. Fordo will be converted into a nuclear physics and technology center, and Iran's research and development on centrifuge will be carried out based on a mutually agreed framework. A modernized heavy water research reactor in Arak will be redesigned and rebuilt with the assistance of an international joint venture that will not produce weapons-grade plutonium. There will be no nuclear reprocessing, and spent fuel will be exported. Monitor the provision of the JCPOA, including implementation of the modified code 3.1, and provision of the additional protocol will be done based on a set of measures to clarify past and present issues regarding Iran's nuclear program. The International Atomic Energy Agency will be permitted use of modern technologies and will have announced access through agreed procedure. Iran will take part in international cooperation in the field of civilian nuclear energy, including supply of power and research reactors, as well as nuclear safety and security. The European Union will terminate the implementation of all nuclear-related economic and financial sanctions, and the United States will cease the application of all nuclear-related secondary economic and financial sanctions simultaneously with the IAEA verified implementation by Iran of its key nuclear commitments. To endorse the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, a UN Security Council resolution will be approved which terminates all previous nuclear-related resolutions and incorporate certain restrictive measures for a mutually agreed period of time. Iran is committed to honor the JCPOA agreement. The reports on a secret enrichment facility on the Iranian territories are false accusations. The Fordo facility is converted to a nuclear physics research lab, as agreed upon in the JCPOA. We deny all allegations, and we assure you that Iran will continue to follow the agreement in pursuing a peaceful nuclear program.
Okay. So we're breaking back into individual groups. We're a little bit ahead of schedule now. Let's return at 7:03. When we return from meeting in individual groups, we'll begin the negotiations process. We're going to discuss the uniform resolution. Reading the uniform resolution that the P5+1 member states have drafted. Then each state will be given a brief opportunity to add any points that state specifically wants to make, and then Iran will give their counteroffer. So, Kelsey.
Once again, I'm the French Foreign Minister, and I'll be representing all of the member states over here. First, the states reiterate their resolve to fully comply with the JCPOA stipulations. We call for a thorough international investigation.
Slow down a little, please, so we can understand.
We call for a thorough international investigation by the IAEA of the facility and its purpose. If the purpose is found to be for proliferation, severe steps will be taken. This may come after each state has determined the validity of the U.S. intelligence claims. As a first step, agreed upon economic sanctions in line with the JCPOA will be imposed in order for Iran to discuss diplomacy and to put a halt to enrichment. In addition, there will be increased monitoring of Iranian facilities. Military action is not the preferred method to first undertake. The states reiterate their support of the JCPOA and are in favor of an amendment that will reestablish long-term trust and cooperation between the states with Iran through increased safeguards and international oversight.
Great. So we're now going to give each of the P5+1 states a chance to say any points they want to add. So we'll start with the United States. Do you have any additional points?
Did you miss the Okay, there's another point at the end that sanctions will be lifted once Iran complies with the agreed funding determinations.
Any other points?
That's
Okay. Russia, do you have any other points?
I didn't hear that. Can you repeat it,
Yeah.
please?
So there was another point that was left out. It says sanctions will be lifted once Iran complies with the agreed finally determined deal. So the sanctions will be lifted.
Once
state.
Iran is back in compliance.
Russia requests that we do our own investigation into the facility along with the IAEA.
China?
I'm Akshay, the chief nuclear negotiator. China is against any imposed sanction against Iran until the provision 75 to 78 is followed, and Iran is given due process time to come clear up its claims.
France?
We stick by it.
UK?
Nothing additional.
Germany?
Germany would just like to reemphasize that we would strongly discourage using military force, and that would be our last resort. And that our ultimate goal is that if it comes up that the Islamic Republic of Iran, it has violated the JCPOA, we would want a statement from them to ensure that they are shutting it down and to reemphasize that they are not going to pursue a nuclear program.
And the EU doesn't have any additional.
Really quickly, I just want to say that Russia will not agree to any sanctions unless we are allowed to investigate ourselves.
Okay. So with that, we'll hear Iran's counter statement.
Good morning, my name is Josh Rothman. I'm the Iran chief nuclear negotiator. So from the beginning of these talks, we've heard multiple accusations against our credibility. Specifically from the U.S., there was talk of immediate snapback actions directly contrary to the JCPOA. Additionally, threats of military action show their desire to take actions into their own hands, similar to unsubstantiated claims in the past of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. From France, we were offered harsher sanctions, which will only deteriorate the relations we've worked so hard to improve. And from the European Union delegates, we were offered threats of swift and increasing sanctions, also contrary to the JCPOA. As a result of this, we feel that it is others, not Iran, who have damaged their credibility. As such, our counter is to simply follow the provisions of the JCPOA. Specifically, as mentioned by other countries, per the JCPOA Annex 1, Section Q, Article 75, we request our rights to be told by the IAEA, correction to be provided, the basis for these concerns and allegations, and an ability to request specific clarification. We welcome the Chinese and Russian offers of independent investigations and their obvious desire to proceed diplomatically. We are more than happy to arrange for both of these investigations to occur separately on mutually agreeable timelines, in addition to the JCPOA specified inspections. We will note that when France discussed their desire for the safety of their country as being paramount, that we both sympathize with that, understand their feelings, and would remind them that we share this feeling of our own national security, that it should be considered just as important as everyone else's.
Is that it?
That's all.
Great, so we're going to go back into our individual country groups for 3 minutes, discuss what sanctions the P5+1 countries may undertake. Iran can think about their response, and then we'll have the foreign ministers come back together for about another 3 minutes. The final resolution that the JCPOA members have agreed on, then the EU, Russia, and China are going to list out any bilateral agreements that they want to pursue outside of the JCPOA with Iran. Then the US is going to make final statements, and then Iran will make final statements. So Kelsey will read the final resolution.
I am representing the P5+1 states. The P5+1 states call upon the JCPOA to proceed with a formal investigation into the alleged site. If these allegations return to be unsubstantiated, we withhold further action. If individual states want to pursue bilateral investigation, they must comply with Iran. If the claims are substantiated, Iran will have a grace period to comply with the JCPOA. If they do not comply, the P5+1 states call for economic sanctions as stated in the snapback provision and further diplomatic negotiations.
Okay, great. So we'll start with Russia. What are your bilateral agreements that you're going to pursue?
We invite Iran to formalize their offer and have both Russian and Chinese national inspectors join these IAEA inspectors on their visits. We would like to reiterate that in a 6-month period, no military action should be taken. Russia will interpret any unilateral military action in Iran within this investigation period and in the grace period, if applied, as a threat to Russian military and civil society operations in the Middle East, and will act accordingly.
China, your bilateral agreements that you'll pursue? No additional ones? Speaking on behalf of the EU as the High Representative, we're not going to pursue any additional bilateral agreements. And now the US, you'll list your bilateral agreements you're going to pursue and then begin your final statement.
Okay, so the US would like to grant the grace period of 6 months. If Iran is not complying with the JCPOA, they will be given 6 months to destroy anything that doesn't comply. The inspections will be done every 2 months by IAEA, and if there's no significant progress, then the US will take limited military action to make sure that action is being taken to destroy these non-compliant sources. Yeah.
Any final statements?
Final statements.
Good, okay. And Iran, you have the remainder of the time to make your final statements.
I'm Jonathan Lear, National Security Advisor to President Rouhani of Iran. The U.S. has not provided any evidence that Iran has violated the JCPOA. If they want to provide evidence, they must follow the protocols in paragraphs 75 to 78 of the JCPOA. We welcome the reinspection of existing facilities by the IAEA as stipulated in the JCPOA agreement, and we would be amenable to Russia's and China's plan to send their own experts and do an independent investigation regarding these accusations. We would also ask that no sanctions should be enforced, and Iran will maintain its peaceful nuclear program. Thank you.
Yes, that's a conclusion.
Okay. Is that it? That's it. Okay. Give yourself a big hand. So we have just a few minutes for reflection and discussion. What did you think of, I'm sorry we're so compressed. What did you think of the exercise? Do you think it was plausibly realistic and straight to the real world? You don't. Well, why not?
I mean, you had an hour. Like, you could try to compress it down as much, but like, it doesn't give everyone the best opportunity to be able to talk with people given such the size of the group.
Right.
And for how short of time that you have. So like, we did our best to make sure like you got to talk with your individual groups, then also have the heads of state talk. But I think if you had a little bit more time, everyone would have more opportunity.
Did any of the delegations in P5+1 plus EU speak directly with the Iranians? No. Coordinate with the Iranians at all? Or request anything from the Iranians?
We did, so we had a good
Explore the areas that compromise with the Iranians?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have a Google Doc with them.
Yeah.
In a Google Doc, yes.
I think actually, with the exception of the times when the foreign ministers were over there talking just amongst themselves, I think this was actually pretty representative of my understanding of how meetings work, in that we were kind of grouped by teams and we were providing information like as other heads of state were talking. I also think it's pretty interesting that we ended up with what I think is a pretty common agreement, in that there's some very minimal amount of detail and kind of an unspoken agreement that the details will be hammered out later.
In like working groups or?
No, I mean like like moving from here, there would need to be something more formal than the IAEA inspectors will go in every 2 months, and something needs to be discussed between China, Russia, and Iran regarding our visits in conjunction with IAEA. And so like that all of these details, we're like, okay, the broad swaths we all agree on, but if now we started discussing the minute details, we'd probably end up with a lot more specific conflicts.
Mr. Sokolsky was mentioning that there was no reference at all to the NPT by anybody. And of course, this is in the context of the NPT. The IAEA is justified to do the inspections. There was a little comment at the very end about referring to IAEA inspections. The Russians were going to inspect separately, the Chinese were going to inspect separately. That's normally not the procedure. Also, what about the provisions in the JCPOA, stipulated in the JCPOA, in case there is an alleged violation? Does it say in the JCPOA that an alleged violation triggers a P5+1 plus EU plus Iran negotiation? What's it?
From our understanding, and you can correct me on that, there's actually a process if like someone goes and finds an undeclared facility on what the process is and how the IAEA is going to go about it.
Right, like IAEA.
Yeah, that's what we had mentioned, or you guys had mentioned.
Right, but that's what we're saying, it has a provision like there's a vote for like joint commission where 5 out of 8 have to agree to move on to the sanctions.
But normally you wouldn't go from the US declares based upon national technical means that it's a violation, step 1, to step 2, is a P5+1 plus EU plus Iran negotiation. It's stipulated in JCPOA what happens if there's an alleged violation. It's not this.
I was under the impression that there's snapback sanctions, but only one country has to agree to those snapback sanctions for them to come in place. So there really doesn't have to be negotiations between the countries.
Fair enough. Well, I'm sorry that we have to compress so much in a short amount of time. The idea is for you to get a little feel for the dynamics in which what it feels like to represent a particular point of view, which you may or may not agree with. I think there was a lot of substance expressed and exchanged. I wish there was more time for the give and take of a real negotiation. It's mostly teams talking among themselves when they're presenting statements. Just it robbed us because of the time of the ability to go back and forth. That's fine. I think you did a fine job and should be pleased. Okay, now we're going to turn to Professor Van Bibber to talk about weapons effects.
Great.
We have a few minutes for that, and then we're going to go to the force evaluation. I won't have time to discuss nuclear terrorism, to discuss it another time.